All right, I did 29,000 steps today. For anyone who doesn't know, 10,000 would be considered like a good amount. So 29,000 is like 3 times that almost. So yeah, I was on my feet a lot today. Like a YouTube, I won't tell you now, but you can wait for tomorrow's video to find out why I did 29,000 steps. But whilst you wait for that, what we'll do is I'll answer a question that I received, and it's an interesting question which is based on the name of my channel and the name that I refer to myself as. So I would say around 2 years ago, roughly, maybe 3, I came back from a stint in America. I was playing basketball out there, playing for a junior college in Texas, Big Spring, Texas, if you know where that is. I didn't, and to be completely honest with you, I wouldn't recommend it. Very quiet town. Anyways, it was always my dream to play basketball in America. So initially going out there, I was very excited. I felt like it was a big moment in my life. But after spending the year out there, to cut a long story short, it wasn't the best out there, and it wasn't what I was expecting or what I wanted to get out of it. It was a tough time, kind of coming back after a year where it was supposed to be a time for me to sort of accomplish a lot of my childhood dreams and really excel. And I had this idea in my mind of how things would pan out, and then for them to completely not pan out like that at all, it had me thinking a certain way about myself, my life, and the things I was going to do. So when I came back, I went through somewhat of a reflective period, and part of this reflective period was breaking down who I was, what I had to offer, what I needed to improve on, what I wanted to be, just everything you could think of to do with myself and where I'm at and where I want to be. I broke it all down. So I'm writing down strengths and weaknesses, and I'm very critical, and I'm very I'm not sure if honest is the word, but I expect a high standard for myself. So it takes a lot for me to write down a strength. So I'm writing down strengths, or at least trying to write down strengths. And the only things that I could really think of was, number one, my height. I'm 6'4", so I was like, okay, well that's kind of a strength. I'm quite tall. And number two was that I was light skinned. Like, for some reason I perceived that as a strength. Around that time I was still very like girl oriented. So a big part of my focus and what I deemed to be successful was getting girls. As far as I was aware, being light skinned was kind of the best thing to be to get girls, because you had a bit of blackness, you had a bit of whiteness, right? And you could kind of get the best of both worlds whilst also providing the best of both worlds, which is really retarded. Like that's you shouldn't really categorize people like that, but that's just how I was thinking in my head. And to some extent there's probably some truth to that. But, I perceived that as a strength, and they were the two main ones that I wrote down. Now you may ask, okay, so why did you decide to use that as your name? This journey that I'm on is it's really like a journey of betterment and a journey of self-development, right? But in order to understand the direction you're going, you need to understand where you're starting. So for me, 6'4" light skin were my strengths. That was the foundation upon which I could build on. And then from there, the plan was to build and to become better and be able to offer more than just my height and my skin tone to the world around me. And I think since then I have developed strengths. I have got better, but the baseline was 6'4" light skin. And given that at that time that was sort of when I started like this self-development journey, it makes sense and it correlates to now where I'm starting an entrepreneurial journey, and I guess in many ways a YouTube journey. It makes sense for me to write down the bass line, the original bass line, which is 6'4" Lightskin.